Live from clickorlando.com, this is News 6 at 5:30. This is a News 6 Plus takeover. Here now is Matt Austin and Ginger Gadsden with Florida's 4th Estate.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic edition of Florida's 4th Estate. You know, we love just cracking open the egg that is Florida and analyzing all of the yolk in there. We get all up in it. And so that's what we're doing today with roller coasters. Today, we're doing the top 5 Florida roller coasters. And I know there's going to be some disagreements, but this is what we're going with. We've brought in an expert. My name's Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gadsden. I'm so excited to do this list because I saw it and I've done exactly one of these rides. But it's fine. Today's podcast, you must be this tall to ride this podcast. So get in, sit down, strap in, and hang on. It's going to be great because we have our local theme park expert, a resident theme park expert, Landon McReynolds. He's ridden all of these rides. Landon, we're so glad you could join us to talk about these.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. Number 5 on my list, it's Mako, and this is at SeaWorld. This is the one that they claim to be Orlando's tallest and fastest. Going up to 73 miles an hour. So that's the one that I would say is a must-do on any thrill seekers list.
And is that the one where you're like kind of slouched over? Is that?
No, this is a lap bar only. I mean, this is the roller coaster I told my mom she could do, and she watched from the ground. And my dad did it and was like, "Yeah, I'm glad your mom didn't do this one. I don't think she would have handled it well."
Oh my God. It's one of the, it's like a hyper coaster, right? Because it's like 200 feet tall, but it has no inversion. So that means you get more hang time.
So I think it's a good one if you're not a fan of going upside down.
I am not.
Yeah, then you'd like this one.
Okay. It's steel, so it's smooth. Is it smooth?
It's very smooth. Yeah.
He's so defensive over this is how much Landon, he goes to the theme parks. If he's off for 2 seconds, he's at the theme parks. He's like, of course it's smooth. Don't say it's not smooth.
Question. What's wrong with you?
You'd be like if you said, Landon, you're not very smooth. He'd be like, oh, yeah, I am smooth.
So number 4 on the list, and I've also heard that many, I guess Ginger and Matt have not done this one yet. But it's Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. This one opened in May over at Epcot. And this is actually one of the longest enclosed coasters in the world. It's so big that it actually could take up an entire football field. So, yeah, this one too is as smooth as butter. I'm not joking, but it's mostly in the dark. So you can't see where you're going. And
Sir, why are we riding a roller coaster in the dark?
So there's like these projections all over the walls. So when you're moving, it's an omni coaster. So it's going to turn you towards the action. It's kind of like this chair I'm in right now. It literally pivots. And as the action is happening in front of you, you're going to turn. It's actually, a lot of people also say it could lead to you getting sick easier.
Just hearing that, because your chair is going one way, but the action is another. I mean, what is the vomit factor on this one?
Can you rate the vomit factor for us, Landon?
I don't know. I'm not experienced, but a 6.
Oh, all right. That sounds kind of high.
Maybe don't quote me on it, but I mean,
we're quoting you because there you are singing it.
The vomit factor is very big for me because as Ginger has stated before on this podcast, I have a little baby stomach, and I have thrown up on several roller coasters. Actually, it's after the fact is usually when I do it. So if that's going to make me sick, I'm going to be out.
I think some of these other coasters on the list are going to make you sicker.
The only one I have done.
Take it away, Ginger.
And I was terrified to do it. And I was talked into it by a coworker. She was sweet and held my hand, actually. I'm talking about Hagrids Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, better known as just Hagrids. This I was so terrified to get on this thing because you're sitting up like on a motorcycle, and then there's someone else in the sidecar. I did not get in the sidecar. But when you talk about smooth, it really was smooth, but fast as all get out. And there are some surprise elements on this that when they started to happen, my friend who took me, she just looked over at me and said, sorry. She didn't want to ruin it for me, but it was so much fun. We waited for 2 hours, and this was after all the hype had passed. You know, it had been open for a while because people were waiting up to, like, Landon, you remember this? Like 8 hours in line to ride this thing. It's at Universal Islands of Adventure, right? And people were waiting for hours to ride this thing.
I feel like the longest I've waited is up to like 3 hours for this.
The good thing about Hagrids, I will say this as somebody with little ones, is 48 inches is the height requirement. So my 7-year-old Sawyer, she just got to 48 inches. So we took her on Hagrids because she always had to kind of wait to the side. So we waited in the legit 2-hour line. And my sweet little soybean, she finally got to do Hagrids, and she loved it. So she didn't seem scared at all. She was very serious riding it. She was over there right next to me holding my hand, but she had a blast on Hagrid. So if you have a kid and you want to get one on this list, Hagrid's might be the best for that, huh?
I think
Put her on the sidecar, though.
The big question with this is, are you the sidecar or the motorbike?
Oh, that's an easy answer. Sawyer was the sidecar, but you got to go the motorcycle because you genuinely, as someone who loves to ride motorcycles, you feel like you're riding a motorcycle.
So this is another one that, as we move up the list here, it's going to get more intense. But Iron Gwazi, this was 2 on my list.
Vomit factor of what?
This is at Busch Gardens, and
you need an iron tummy for this one, huh, Landon?
Just a little bit. And imagine when it was opening, they put me on it, and I had to interview the one of the developers of it, and he's like, we can just do the interview on the ride. There's no problem. And I was like,
what?
Okay. So I sat there and I was asking him questions, and he's like, oh, by the way, you're about to go down a 91-foot drop, which is like pretty much straight down. I was like, great. This will be fun.
At what point can you stop the ride? None, right? You just have to go with it. It's like, I want to get off now. Thank you.
Yes. So this one reaches up to 76 miles an hour, and it flips you around like nobody's business.
Are you a screamer, Landon? Are you a screamer on a
that one? Right? I was screaming.
It was that intense.
It's very intense.
All right, time to tell you about my favorite roller coaster on Earth. And this is somebody with a weak stomach here. Keep this in mind. I think we can all agree who have been on this, which is everybody on this except Ginger. The Veloci Coaster at Islands of Adventure is just a beast of a roller coaster. This thing takes you 70 miles an hour. It just opened up in 2021. And it does things to your body that you're just like, what are you doing to me? I should not be able to do this. It just clips you over your lap. So you're kind of like one of those guys outside a car dealership on this thing. And you feel like you're floating around. You're going upside down. It has 12 points in this ride where you just feel like, yep, I'm going to die. And you don't. You manage to survive it, and it just twists you around. It goes super fast. But my favorite part about this is just how incredibly smooth it is. So I get off the thing, and I don't feel violently ill. I just feel like I just cheated death, which is exactly how I should feel when I get off a roller coaster. Landon, you agreed this is #1 as well?
This is #1. This is, anytime anybody asked me, I said that is the coaster to do.
Matt and his family are supposed to take me on this ride. Now I think I may not go.
Ginger's birthday present was we're taking you to Universal and you're going on to our favorite ride, the Veloci Coaster.
How does it compare, Landon, to say Slinky Dog Dash? Because he's like,
it's a Slinky Dog?
Ride. It's the Slinky Dog Dash. It's a kid ride.
It's like comparing a Lamborghini to a 1960 Bug.
A Model
That's
T.
Right. There's no comparison.
Okay. Wow. That
Sure,
was you terrified me, both of you, with
I
that
think
number one choice.
I think you could go on, I think what's called the Dragon at Legoland. That'd probably be a good one. Let's start there first.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be a giant wimp, maybe this isn't the list for you, Ginger Gadsden.
I'm not ashamed.
Thank you for checking out our list of the top 5 roller coasters in the state of Florida. If Landon is wrong, get in touch with us on social media, and we would love to tell him that he's wrong.
I would like to know what rides I can actually handle. So let me know that as well.
Yeah, we'll do a top 5 teacups ride in a couple of weeks. Give me a break. Thanks, Landon.
No problem.
Speaking of wild rides, stay with us as we take you to Tank America, where you can crush cars and ride through the mud inside a tank.
Okay, I don't know about you out there, but sometimes my job can be stressful. And the stressful part is usually Matt.
Hey.
Right? So you just
I don't know. I thought we were talking about something completely different. Are we doing a therapy session today?
And you can't just go over. I want to go over and like squeeze them or shake them or something. I was like, oh, if I only had a way to release all this tension, it'd be so great. So I feel like today we have a way for all of us who have a Matt in our lives to release some of that tension. Hi, Matt. I didn't know you were listening.
I feel like you have some anger issues or something we need to talk about. I thought we were talking about the craziest business idea I'm fascinated by. I just picture like some friends who are maybe having some drinks one night and they go, man, just picture like we buy these tanks and then people pay us to drive our tanks around a course that we built. Well, one of those guys, I have no idea if this has anything to do with it, but this is my vision. This is John Kinney. He is co-owner of Tank America here in Central Florida, a place where you can do just that. You can go out and drive yourself a tank. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Great to be here with you guys.
And
hey,
that
was
background.
I wrong about the stress reliever?
You are not wrong at all. So not only do we let you drive tanks here, but we'll actually let you take one of these tanks like behind me and drive over and crush a real car with them. So if you want to talk about stress relieving, that's an awesome way to do it.
That is phenomenal. Matt saying that, he imagined that some guys were sitting around one night. How did this come about?
Well, he's not too far off. So myself and my business partner, his name's Troy, we started this going back. We opened our first location in Melbourne in 2017 and then have moved over here to Orlando and got this Orlando location up and running at the end of last year. But no, the origin story isn't far off from that. Basically, he called me one day and said, hey, John, did you know we can buy tanks? And I said, Troy, I did not know that, but you definitely have my attention. And we both wanted to drive tanks. And we figured, hey, if we want to, some other people might want to. And there's nothing like this in the state of Florida. And where better to bring something like this than the tourist capital of the United States.
So give us some stats on these tanks. How big are they? How fast are they, or not fast? So give us a little bit of info on these tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So top speed on them runs about 35 miles per hour. Now, as you can imagine, you need a good bit of runway to get them up to that speed. We've got a half-mile track here on site that we let our customers drive these things around. We got a bunch of awesome obstacles, mud holes, hills, ditches, trenches, all sorts of fun stuff you get to drive them to. So you're probably not going to get them up to that 35 miles per hour, but you are going to have an awesome time. They're 17-ton vehicles. And like you can see the barrels behind me, they've got 105 millimeter cannons on them.
Okay,
do those fire?
Yeah, that was my question, Ginger. You totally stole it. Can I shoot out of one of these things, or are we getting illegal?
One question. That's the number one question we get asked here. Now, they've got about a 9.5 mile range on them. While we're on 14 acres, we don't have quite enough property to start firing the main cannons off. So no, unfortunately, that's not something that we do here.
Who are some of the people who you find really enjoy this? Are you surprised by some of your clientele?
Well, the surprise is it covers everything. We had a lady out here the other day celebrating her 85th birthday, and what she wanted she wanted to drive a tank. And that's not our first one like that. We've had a number of folks like that, men, women, Had a 16-year-old birthday party here the other day. Hadn't driven a car before, but they got in and drove a tank for their first vehicle.
Yes.
So it really runs age, demographics, everything. Anybody that wants to drive a tank, they can do it.
I don't have to have a driver's license, but I can drive that thing.
Absolutely. 16 and up to drive. And then passengers can be any age. They just need to be 55 inches or taller. That way they can stand up in our passenger compartment, which they ride in the turret section. So the height requirement is just make sure they're tall enough and strong enough to be able to ride along as a passenger.
You know, God bless America. How you don't even need a driver's license and you can come here to Central Florida and drive a tank. I freaking love that. So, John, what can people expect if they go out there, as far as say, because mostly it's not tourists watching this, it's locals. If they said, hey, on this Saturday, I'm going to go out and drive a tank. What's the cost structure? How much do you pay? Do you get like a certain amount of time? Do you have to pay for the cars you crush? How does this work?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me walk you through it. Basically, when you come out to our facility, first thing you're going to do is sign a couple waivers, just to make everybody happy on the liability side of things. But don't worry, it's a great and safe experience. From there, we're going to put you in about a 20-minute safety and operations briefing. That's where we're going to actually teach you how to drive the vehicle, teach you a little bit about the tanks and some of the obstacles and stuff that you're going to come across while you're out driving on the trail. Once you're done with that safety and operations brief, you're going to load up in one of the tanks like the ones behind me, and you will have an instructor that's with you at all times on the vehicle. They've got a kill switch on the vehicle, so if anybody gets a little too wild or runs off course with the flip of a switch, they can shut the vehicle down, get you back on track and out there. Package-wise, our entry-level package, we call our basic training package, and that's going to get you 2 laps around our half-mile trail and doing a lot of those awesome obstacles I was telling you about earlier, about an hour from start to finish, and the price for that is $299.
The question I have is, how many times can you crush one vehicle before you need to then get another vehicle to crush? And where are you getting these supplies of things to crush?
Yeah, so with our car crush package, if you buy one of our experiences that has the car crush experience in it, you're going to be the first one to crush that car, and you're going to be the only one to crush that car. The way it works is we put a fresh car out for you. It's got the glass in, it's got the tires on it, the whole 9 yards. So when you go driving over, you're going to see that windshield go flying, tail lights go popping out. You're going to run it over 3 times. So you're going to hit it from 3 different angles, and you're going to smash the heck out of it. As you can imagine, it's definitely a crowd favorite.
Do you have people saying like, hey man, when Armageddon comes, I'm coming to your place with all the tanks?
I haven't had anybody tell me that yet. But I tell you, when the hurricanes come, I don't have too much to worry about because, hey, if it gets too bad, I'll just ride it out in one of these.
For a good idea. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is there with a tank? Is there a limit to how much water they can get through? They're not like a normal car. What, like if you say there was a hurricane and people needed to be rescued or something, would a tank come in to play, or is it just a battlefield weapon?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we can go through, at least 4 feet of water. One of the obstacles that we have here is an additional option for you is we have a 75-foot long, 4-foot deep mud and water pit. It's a $50 option on most of our packages. Some of our other packages do include it, but we're going to actually line you up on this 75-foot long mud and water pit, and we'll let you going to go ripping through it in the tank. So you're going to see a giant splash of mud and everything going. Great time, great experience. So I can promise you can get through at least 4 feet of water.
Oh, man. The hillbilly in me, that just calls my name. It runs deep in my genetics, and I'm in.
So, John, tell me, what is the best part about what you do out there? I mean, just looking at this picture we're seeing right now with you and the blue sky and the tank behind, I mean, that says God bless America right there. I know they're British tanks, but it just says so many great things. So what do you love about it?
Without a doubt, the best part that I love about this is seeing the smiles on all of our customers' face when they come off of the tank. I mean, I can't think of a time I haven't seen somebody get off of one of these vehicles after doing their drive and not have a smile on their face from ear to ear.
That is incredible. Hey, tanks a lot.
You had to ruin it.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's been great. Anybody that's interested, go to tankamerica.com. You can see all the different options we have on there. You can make your reservation right there. We do everything on a reservation basis, and would love to see everybody come out here and do some tank driving with us.
Excellent. Ginger, way to tank the show with that terrible pun. All right. Have a good Thanks, John.
All right, guys. Have a good rest of the day.
You too, bud.
Fun. And thank you for watching Florida's Fourth Estate. You can download it from wherever you listen to podcasts or watch anytime on News 6 Plus.